So what we're going to do in this tutorial is we're going to be going through Adobe InDesign, specifically looking at how to do a menu. So a menu being a restaurant menu. Okay, so this InDesign tutorial is going to go for just a little bit of time, but I think it'll be quite worthwhile. Normally I give you 10 minutes. So this is the first load of Adobe InDesign. It's completely from scratch. No settings have been modified on this. So I go over here and I click on close, and I don't want anything else appearing, okay? So I'm going to start off by creating a new document, and my document itself is going to be a typical menu size, okay? So if you go into a restaurant or what have you, they normally have an A4 page, and they're all sort of separate pages. Then you have other restaurants which are more sort of takeaway-ish in nature that give you a pamphlet, and they are called gatefold menus. So we're going to create a gatefold menu. Is that cool? All right. So this is how we're going to do it. So we go over to an A4. Okay, so A4, we choose A4. Okay. And then we're going to go over here and we're going to change it over to landscape format. And instead of using picas, which is another type of measurement that designers use, it's more for people who are typographers and things like that, more refined, small, tiny increments. We're talking less than a micron dimension, okay? We're going to be using millimeters in ours. So the measurements here are width of 297 by 210. Okay? Is that cool? Yep. All right. So, other things we want to do here is we're going to create 3 columns. And the gutter, okay, the gutter, and this is a very easy and quick way to set this out, by the way. The gutter is going to be 0. Okay, cool. To have this, now remember, a part of the other outcome, we needed to look at bleed, for example. So margins, I'm going to set my margin to 12, and that is a text safe area. And here I'm going to do bleed. So bleed is going to be 3 millimeters, and the bleed itself is locked. Okay, so it is locked. So if I do 4, these other ones become 4 as well. So 3 millimeters is your general normal bleed dimension value, okay? If you are printing with a really cheap printing company and they don't really care about your design, which I recommend you not use that company, they might specify 5 millimeters, okay? That's a bit of a warning sign if they ask you for 5 mil, okay? All right, so we're going to click on create. And we have this, okay? So this here is a gatefold. All right, so what a gatefold is that this right-hand panel folds into the middle, and then this one here is your front cover and flicks over top of this one, okay? And that's called a gatefold. All right, all cool? All right, so let's figure this out. So I don't know why my properties are over here. I'm just going to move them across there, okay, so you can see it. In fact, I'll make sure that my my workspace is set to Essentials Classic, and you have it here, okay? So a little bit more easy to understand, okay? If you do not see this navigation and things like this over here like this, it means that your computer resolution is too low. It might have gone into a tablet mode. So you need to go back into, you need to actually go to Window, Workspace, and click on the Classic, okay? All right. So let's look at this here. Let's start off with this side here, okay? And we might think about this side here being an image because we want something to feel good, yeah? All right, so we go over here and we're going to create an image across here. Okay, so put the image in there. Now remember, this here is not the edge of the page, this is the edge of the page. So I'm going to use the Move tool to move my, whoops, I rotated, Command Z. I'm going to move my image so it goes to the bleed. So I'm not looking at the edge of this, I'm going up to that pink line across the top there, the bleed. Okay, and I'm going to bring this down to there. Now, I'm not concerned about my image in the fold as much because that's what they should be referencing the fold for at the printers when they put the die in, the die cut in, okay? So I'm just going to change this to, let's say, default of black, just so that we know that's an image, yeah? Is that cool? Yep. All right. So I'm going to go over here now and I'm going to go and I'm going to put in a text box. So I'm going to go to my type tool over here and I'm going to draw a box in the text safe area like this. Okay. Cool. And now remember, I'm just going the speed of the class at the moment, so it's going to drag on for a little bit, okay? All right, so we have that text box there and we've got this blinky thing there, okay? All right, so next up, what we need to do is we need to put some type into this. So we go over to type and then we go over to fill with placeholder text. So this is lorem ipsum. Okay, so lorem ipsum is body copy that hasn't been supplied to us yet. So we can design stuff. Knowing that the client hasn't given us the content yet, or the copywriters haven't given the content yet. Okay, so we can just dump in things later on. All right, so here we got it. Okay, so we go into the you can press V to go into the selection tool and make sure this is selected. We right click on the type and we go over to text frame options. Okay, text frame options. Cool. And we're going to say insert spacing. So the top is going to be 0 because we already have the top specified there. And we unlock it, okay? So this is not locked anymore. And the bottom's fine. We need to go left, okay? So we click on preview and we say here we're going to have at least 5 millimeters of padding inside here. I'm going to put in a cool 10 mil, okay? And then to the right, a nice 10 millimeters. The reason why I've got 10, good question. The reason why I've got 10 in there is that when the printer puts the die in to put the score line into fold this menu, it might be off slightly, so we don't want the text to be folded in the fold, okay? So we give them enough space for a little bit of error. And plus, you like a little bit of space in things, don't you, yeah? To make things look a little bit more nicer, okay? So now we're going to go over here, we're going to click on OK, and we have this. Okay? All right. So I'm going to go over to the move tool, the selection tool again, and I'm going to duplicate this. So I'm going to move this across and press Shift and then Option. Oh dear, didn't work. Move it across, Option, Shift, and now it comes up with that different icon on my cursor there, on my thing, and it's going to duplicate it, and I'm going to click and then drag it across so it's on that other page. Okay? So I'm just going to do that. I'll give a little bit of time to catch up. So Adobe Indesign is actually quite good. It's a very powerful tool for typography. And that's why we use it instead of Adobe Illustrator. Adobe Illustrator is designed to obviously illustrate logos, do actual illustrations of things as well. And we also use it in packaging as well, because you have a lot of things that you need to spin around and things like that, okay? Adobe InDesign is mainly used for producing publications like books and magazines and posters as well, okay? And also for menus as well. Anything that you need fine typography design and conventions being applied, okay? Right, so let's dive into Adobe InDesign looking at this. So we have here styles, okay? So if we go to paragraph styles over here, okay, and we're going to modify the basic paragraph style. So what this is, basic paragraph style, is that, imagine this, you have a book that is 1,000 pages in length. and the client comes up to you after you've done this beautiful design and says, I don't like how you've used Helvetica Light. Can you please change it to Comic Sans? And apart from the quiet unrest that you have in your mind, choosing Comic Sans, you can do it quite easily throughout the whole document without having to spend hours and hours and hours resetting everything. So this is how you go about doing it. I'm going to do it now. So basic paragraph style, I'm going to double click on this, and we come up with this dialog box over here. Okay. And this is going to set the default font and everything for your menu. Okay, so did you click on that? Yeah. All right, so let's go over here to basic character formats. And we can choose our typeface here. So I'm going to choose one which is like a bit more of an open typeface, something that you can easily access. Okay, and I like to use, for that purpose, I like to use, what was my favorite one again that I've been using lately? Poppins. And you can download Poppins off the Google open source fonts, okay? You can download that. It's a whole family. You have a light, you have a medium, you have all these different sort of weights of the font. So I'm going to click on Poppins, and I'm going to change the typeface size down to 9.5 point. Okay, so it's 9.5, and we'll change this to, we'll change this to 12. So it's 9.5 over 12 leading, and we're going to see how this looks. Okay, so we're going to click on preview and check it out. So this is what I've modified my type to so far. Okay, I might look at it and think, okay, I might want a bit of more air between the lines of type, so I might change it to 14. So 9.5 over 14 is actually quite nice, to be honest. Now, if someone thinks that you can't read 9.5 typeface on a printed item, they'll need to have, they need to get their eyes checked, okay? Putting it nicely, okay? If an old lady can look at the obituaries for their friends, sorry to say this again, and those obituaries are commonly in 8-point size. Business cards are in 8-point size. Sometimes parts of it is in 6-point, okay? You're looking at, let's say, at packaging, the ingredients panels are in 6-point. Yeah, it's tiny. Okay, so let's move on from that. We've got size of the point, 9.5 over 14 leading, kerning. We change it from metrics to optical. Okay, from metrics to optical. The metrics is what the font has been designed roughly for, but optical overrules that, and Adobe Indesign then thinks like a font typographer and starts putting in, like, having a nice comparison between a capital letter T and the letter O, the lowercase o, for example, working well together, okay? So optical is what I prefer it to be, and everything else set as just normal. Okay? Next up, we don't go to advanced character formats, we go to indents and spacing. So indents and spacing, what we need to do now is we need to look at the paragraphs now, okay? So at the end of every paragraph, you'll notice here, we have a paragraph right here, and there's no gap between each paragraph. It doesn't look right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do, not space before, we're going to do space after. And check this out. As I adjust it, it changes the paragraph spacing. Okay? So I like to do 2 millimeters for space after. You can have 3 millimeters if you wish. Okay? For something a little bit more airy. We start off with 2 just to make it all right. Okay? And we're not going to align to a grid. That's more advanced stuff that you learn in uni. Yeah? We're VCE, okay? We weren't going to learn grid systems in that regard. Okay? All the other stuff, don't worry about. If you want to change your color, there's the character color over there. Beware, if you change a character color there, it's across everything. Okay? This is like the, this is setting up a template. So I'm going to click on OK. Cool. All right, so now let's get into the little bit more of the nitty-gritty of creating this menu. So what does a menu have? Yeah, you have the name of the item, don't you? And then you have what it's made out of. Yeah, so let's say if it's a pizza shop, for example. I'll do a pizza shop one, okay? And I'll still have it in lorem ipsum. And we have the price next to it as well. Yeah? All right, so let's do this. So I'm going to start off here by having the name of the item. So that's the name there of the item. Okay, and I'm going to select it. Okay, so I've selected that, just that line. And I'm going to change this into another paragraph now. It's a different style. So I'm going to go over to here and I'm going to make a new paragraph style. Okay. And I'm going to change the name of this paragraph style to subheading and press return. I'm just going to get a drink of water because I'm getting dehydrated. All right, so that's what happens when you don't have any water for the whole day. Okay, so we have renamed this to subheading. We're going to double click on the subheading one and we're going to change these styles of this subheading. So what this thing is now, it's based on basic paragraph. Okay, so if I choose based on basic paragraph, if I change the font family of this one, the heading will also follow suit. So if the client says, can you change this whole thing to Comic Sans? Okay, once you come back from having coffee and everything like that over the shock of it, it'll be fine, it'll follow suit, okay? So based off basic paragraph, and I'm going to go straight to indents and spacing. I'm going to remove my space after because I want this heading to be a part of this paragraph still. Okay? Is that cool? All right. So I'm also going to go now back to basic paragraph style format, basic character formats. And I'm going to change this from regular to maybe a semi-bold. Okay? And this is about looking at the look and feel of it. Right? So I'm not really liking this at the moment. I'm thinking I'm going to make this a little bit lighter, this type here lighter. So I'm going to go back to basic paragraph. And I'm going to change the basic paragraph character formats over from regular to a thin or even a light. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at thin. I like thin, okay. Now if you inverse in the type, I would not go thin. I would keep it as light or regular, okay. Click on OK. So there we have it. That's our thing so far. Now the next step is we are going to be putting in what the ingredients are and all that jazz, yeah? Okay, so here I've got things separated by commas, right? So I've got here arment as being one of the ingredient panel bits and pieces. And I'm going to now finish that up and I'm going to have another paragraph there, okay? So that's it there. Cool? All right, so I need to put in the cost of it, okay? So I'm going to press here, tab. So do one tab. And I'm going to put in the price. How much is my pizza going to be? $12. Okay. So we're not a gourmet. Yeah, we're a normal pizza place, okay? All right, so $12 pizza. And this $12 should actually be over here, shouldn't it? Yeah? All right, so we need to figure out the tabbing system of this, okay? So I've selected all this, all right? So I've selected this, and I'm going to press Command-Shift-T. Command-Shift-T, or on the PC, Control-Shift-T. Okay, I'm recording this, so it's all good. So, we have this tab over here, doesn't belong to anything, so I'm going to make a new tab over here. And if I move this tab, check this out. Okay? All good? All right. So what happens if I want to convert this tab so that it is right aligned? I'm going to bring this tab, change this to this tab over there, so it's right aligned. Okay? And I'm going to move it so that it's right at the end of my thing there. And that's where my 12 goes. Is that cool? Right, so I can do other really cool things in here. I can have like dots and lines and other stuff like that. But that there is a basic menu item. Okay? Is that all right? I could also do things like this. I might want to highlight this price. So I don't want to change the paragraph of this, okay? I want to make a character style, and I'm going to make this character style as being called price. Okay, and I can go in here and I can change a character over to so once again it's Poppins, and I'm going to change it over to, let's say, regular. So it's a little bit thicker than the other copy. Okay, cool, right? And that is it there, right? So you can keep on going with this. You can do things like numbered bullet points, and these could be bullet pointed, so you can point to a menu item that is, can I please have a number 5, right? Or can I please have a number 12? Have you noticed that when people go out and get takeaway, they say, can I have a number 10? Because they can't pronounce what it is. Yeah? Have you noticed that? Right, so that's it there, yeah? And it's also good for tourists as well. Let's say if you go over to Italy and you don't know Italian, can I please have a number 12? Yeah? And most people overseas know some basic numbers, don't they? Yeah? And that is it. That's all for this one. Thank you. Please subscribe, hit the like button, and click on the bell for notifications. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.